question this week comes from our viewer, Jamal. Hey, Jamal. Jamal is about 3 years into his professional career, and he says that he has survived 2 rounds of recent layoffs in his fintech company. He's making a good living, doesn't spend lavishly on things he doesn't need, but Jamal worries that if he's impacted by a future layoff, that he won't have enough cash on hand to carry him until he reconnects with a new job. So Jamal asks you, Dave, how do I financially survive a job loss? Get him started, please.
Yeah, so I mean, it all starts up with actually having a plan in place. So I think about like just what are some proactive things people can be thinking about, having contingencies in place.
Right.
Um, you know, Listen, life generally speaking, for most of us, it's great most of the time. It is sunshine and rainbows a lot of the time, but it's not always going to be.
Right.
So I think about, if an unexpected storm were to come up, like let's give you I'm an analogy guy. So imagine a cruise ship, back in historically the famous one we all remember is the Titanic. They did have some life rafts on that boat, but as history, as we know from history, there weren't enough for everyone on that ship. So you want to you've got the right number and type of life rafts. Now it's your a financial life raft per se. So I think about, yeah, I mean, the obvious one you mentioned it already, Dan, cash on hand, liquidity. It allows you a lot of flexibility to respond to obviously, that's not going to be generating the lion's share of yield in a portfolio, but it's important to have that as a fallback. So certainly having liquidity in the bank obviously is very, very incredibly important. And then I also think about just having optionality. Think about different levers that can exist in someone's situation. I'll give you an example I've tapped into many times: a home equity line of credit. You've got equity in your property. That's generally speaking, real estate, it would be a very illiquid asset that you can't readily sell your house for full fair market value quick. Although right now, depending on where you live, maybe you could. But generally speaking, yeah, you don't want to have to be uprooting your family and selling a home. But yeah, a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, that's a really common mechanism. Generally speaking, you're not having to pay any sort of fee to have it open. And then if and when you need it, you pull the lever, and then you can infuse some cash into your financial life raft per se.